Hi, this is Jackie's Reading Room, and I'm your host, Jackie P. Have you turned some pages today? Lying down, sitting straight, in a cafe, in your favorite chair in the corner of your living room with a warm cup of tea? You guessed it. Today we'll discuss the reading environment, when, where, and how we prefer to read. For those of you out there who are big readers, I'm sure you have a favorite spot. I certainly do. But you know what? I think I can read just about anywhere and at any moment. A while ago, I found this document called The Reading Environment. And this was from the Academic Skills Center of Dartmouth College. And it's dated 2001. But you'll see that um, the information on that document is just as relevant today as it was then. The document describes 5 elements to consider when we think of the environment in which we read. And so let me go through those with you, and I'll tell you a bit about what I do personally as well for each of these elements. So the first one is lighting. Lighting is very important, as you can imagine, and I'm sure many of you can concur. Um, it says on the document that you have to see the page without strain. And we've all been guilty of trying to read in semi darkness or with a poor kind of light, maybe far from where we are sitting or lying down, depending on how you enjoy reading. I find that as I'm getting older, the lighting is key in my reading experience. Um, of course, reading in daylight, reading outside will help with that. But for sure, at night, I need like some good lamp close to where I am. My daughters are, of course, younger and their eyes are stronger, I would imagine. But I still find that sometimes I need to tell them, turn on a light for them to be reading because, as you can also imagine, my daughters are quite big readers, and I do believe I have a little something to do with that for sure. Okay, so number two, second element from the document, ventilation. Now, they say that you should have some fresh air. You should keep it cool. As a matter of fact, if it's too warm in the room or the place where you read, it might, you know, make you fall asleep. So I don't know if any of you like to read by the beach with a breeze coming from the sea. Oh, I can just picture it right now. And I'm sure many of you do that. And by the way, this is a little parenthesis. I love to watch what people read on the beach. Unfortunately, I find that more and more these days, a lot of people are not reading and they're on their phones. But some people are on their electronic device. Maybe they're on their e-reader. And I do see some novels, and I always try to kind of take a look at the titles that I can see. But that's because I guess I love to see what's out there. So ventilation really is essential. If you're going to read in a room that's too stuffy, it's not going to help you out. So keep it cooler rather than warmer. Number three is the reading position. Now, my husband can read lying down on his back with the book in his hand. So he has to basically lift the book. I can't do that. This for me, this is totally not comfortable. The document, the reading environment, states that you shouldn't be too comfortable or too uncomfortable as well. You have to kind of reach a balance. I personally love to read in a very straight sitting position. Ask yourself, what is it that allows you to read the longest? Is it if you're sitting down at your desk or in your favorite chair in your living room, like me? I do have one. Um, can you read kind of like leaning in on your belly? I guess it depends on who you are, but I always think it's interesting to realize what is our best position to maximize our reading time. Number four is focal distance, and those of you who are over 40 listening to this will agree that um, that it becomes more and more important with age. Now, the document states that the book should be about 18 inches from your eyes, and if you need glasses, you should wear them. Don't be shy, don't be embarrassed. Um, I am myself at the end of my 40s, and well, my eyesight is not what it used to be. I do need my glasses to read from up close, and when I do put them on, oh my god, the difference it makes in my, especially when I sit down in the evening in my favorite chair in my living room. Um, it's essential, especially at the end of the day when the fatigue is a bit there. I need to have my glasses. And finally, the last element is distractions that you can see and hear. Some people tell me that they have to read in complete silence. I usually ask my students, can you read in a busy cafe? Because the noise there could almost act as white noise. But many distractions is not better. For example, reading with the television on is really not and conducive. The document says it's the worst possible distraction. I tend to agree. Um, One of the other things I would like to bring up is when. When is the best time for you to read? Do you like to wake up early? Let's say you might be an early bird, 6 a.m. You grab your coffee before everyone's awake and you grab a book, or you go for a jog and then grab a book. I don't know. The document ends with this quote, which I thought was interesting. It says, there are times to read, and just as definitely, there are times when reading must give way to other considerations. I thought that was a very nice way of putting it. I mentioned it. I can read it any time of the day. I find that afternoon, evening is always enjoyable, although sometimes it doesn't happen very often that I'm alone in my house, but when it does, sometimes I'll be passing by one of my piles of books in my house, and I'll just pick a book or the book I'm currently reading, and just read a page, a chapter, the end of a chapter. But I mostly read at night before bed. It's my me time. It's my relaxation time. I try to not be around any screens past 9 p.m. I would say, especially on weeknights when I'm working. Of course, some nights I will watch something on Netflix. Yes, I have been guilty of that at times. But many nights you will find me sitting down with a book. And sometimes I'll have perhaps a daughter or two sitting close to me, which I always love. These are very precious moments to me. Um, Recently, I read the excellent novel, The Sundown Motel, that was published in 2020 by Simone St. James. She is also the author of the Book of Cold Cases and The Broken Girls. They are all kind of, I want to say, kind of spooky, kind of ghost stories. I loved The Sundown Motel. It is very creepy. I could picture it in my mind as I was reading it. I'm a very visual person. I believe I may have mentioned that in a previous podcast or two. Um, and the story takes place in a haunted motel. And I read this book in different places. And I think that the reading environment, when it changes, also makes your reading experience slightly different. So, the story of the novel takes place in this small town in upstate New York, which could remind you of books by Stephen King, where there's a really a haunted motel, and when all the doors start opening and closing and the lights turning off, it was excellent. I was totally on the edge of my seat. I read it um, on the plane going to Mexico a few weeks back, and then on the beach there by the pool, which was great. I had great ventilation, a little wind from the beach, or from just from the environment. Very hot though, right? This was August in Mexico, um, and I had good lighting with the beautiful sunshine there. Um, but it's the kind of book possibly that if you read at night alone in your house with the only one light on, you would almost feel a little scared to go to bed. I love books that create that, right? And the environment can play a role in even increasing uh, the suspense or the stress of the book. So I highly recommend it. It's really not going to be my last book by Simone St. James, who actually lives outside of Toronto. So I always love to discover new Canadian artists. So following this podcast, I want you to perhaps reflect. What is your preferred or your favorite reading environment? What is conducive to reading for you? And once you've found that, if you haven't already, stick to it, because I believe it might help you to perhaps even read more, or read for longer periods of time, and turn some pages of a book or two or three. You never know. Take care, everyone. I certainly hope that you enjoyed that. This is podcast number 11. There are 10 others before this one. So if you enjoyed that, you can always go back and share it with your friends. Take care. I'll see you soon.